Got that CDX token, we the ones chosen. Every stake, every year, while I stay golden. Codex Club, AI mind focus, it's an anthem. CDX got them frozen.
Lucky day. Hello, welcome to Club Codex. Thank you so much for joining us today. We've got a great show for you. And, you know, it's hard not to have a great show, not to have a great day when everything is just up only, baby. We call that the Trump effect here around the office, or at least I do, and some people don't like that, but that's just what it seems like, right? Ever since the peaceful transition of power has begun in the United States, it's been a nonstop bull run. The golden bull run is here, as they say. But, you know, we got a lot of smart guys here with us today. We got Bebis. We've got the one and only Lunaman. Of course, we have the genius Charles. And we're going to do a little analysis here. We're going to see how long can this thing last? Are there going to be hiccups along the way? Are any bumps in the road as far as we can see? So stick around, folks. We might have something that might shock you here on the horizon. So with that said, let's get started on the news.
Breaking news, gotta drop the bomb. Hot as school since Marvel's prom.
Hello and welcome. Thank you for joining me today in Club Codex. How are you all doing today?
Doing awesome.
Doing great.
Another
Good
banger
day.
intro.
Oh yeah, I only come on here so I can listen to your cold start.
Thank
cold
you.
opening, whatever it's called.
Thank you. I didn't even read it that time. That was all off the top of the head. Are you impressed?
Wow.
Thank
Good
you.
job.
Round of
Skill.
applause.
Actually, yes.
High IQ.
Yeah, you know, I put all my skill points from my high IQ into being able to blather nonsensically instead of, you know, something useful like reading the charts.
That's okay. I think that is more useful in a lot of ways than doing your, you know, crazy moon reading.
Get you out of this traffic stops a lot easier, a lot cheaper. But yeah, so, you know, we've had Charles and Bebis on before, but Lunaman, let's give a little intro to Lunaman here. He's a community member. He's been around for a while. Love talking to this guy. You got something you want the people to know about you, Lunaman?
Well, thank you first of all for inviting me. If I'm a bit slow, I hope you can be understanding because it's a bit late for me.
Mm-hmm.
And I only have like, I think 2 neurons left.
Okay.
That's okay. You're good.
Well, we're going to take them.
That's
pretty
perfect.
exhausting.
Perfect for the show.
Just get as much as possible from the neurons. But yeah, I mean, I've been involved in crypto for quite a long time. I think some people know me already. I used to be very involved with G-Trade, the one and only best perp DEX in the world. Buy my backs, please. And I also work for like a DeFi hedge fund currently as head of research there. Big brains.
That's
Very
right.
big brains.
So even if Lunaman doesn't have the big brain himself, he's being so humble, he's surrounded by them. So we could get some osmosis here, guys. We're cooking now. We got a big brain in the studio with us. So guys, let's talk a little bit about, before we get into like some big headlines here, you guys had any wins recently? Any big wins? You buy any cute little NFTs? Anything cool with your bull market winnings?
Well, my infinitely heavy ETH bags have started to move, which has roused me from my state of depression. I've also entered the schizo poster community, which I believe means I'm a milady
Adjacent.
and milady adjacent. And I got it so I can advertise the fact that weed is bad for you. And I'll stand on that fact.
Yeah, it's a worthy cause, if any. Hello to you. I can't pronounce that because I don't speak, I think,
Vietnamese.
Vietnamese. Yeah.
Yeah.
You don't know Not Hien Dong, dude?
I feel like you messed it up, dude.
I probably did.
Anyway, well, that's excellent. I'm glad to see you're buying some really stable assets like beautiful pictures of anti-marijuana propaganda. Now, let's take a look at what I'm so happy about. We all know this. Look, if you're watching this show, you know this already. You know that this is. Oh, I also have this silly setup here. Let's move it to this one, dude.
Whoa.
And that's a little freaky. Bitcoin,
Dude, that's
87,000,
crazy.
all new highs. Right?
Is that just today? Dude.
I mean, this is
This
today.
looks so healthy. It's not gonna top
Yeah, this is never good.
This is completely organic, guys. Sustainable.
Yeah.
What if the Trump campaign just dumped all their funds? I don't even think they can move it. If they dump their remaining funds into this, I was like as a marketing stunt, right? But that's a lot. That's a lot of Bitcoin. Saylor continuing to buy Bitcoin right now. What does this mean for us? We're alt guys, aren't we? We're all alt guys here.
Yeah.
And we need to keep waiting for a bit till people start rotating into ETH, then into more meme coins, then back into Bitcoin, then ETH, then more meme coins. And then after 5 or 6 of this, then they're going to buy our alts.
Well, I've got great news for you because there's also movement going on ETH too. So it seems like it's happening all simultaneously here. Is this the classic a rising tide raising all boats?
It is, but I don't think the rotation has really started yet. Like Bitcoin going up, I don't know what it is on the week, like 20%, something ridiculous. I mean,
I don't think the rotation has happened, period. Like,
Yeah.
I feel like it's been Bitcoin only for a year and a half now, and it has me kind of questioning. The thesis, like, everybody rotating, getting more risk on. I start to question that thesis. I feel like maybe there's a divergence. I have no idea. All I do is hold bags. I've never sell them. But it has me thinking. And, part of me looking at the difference in ETF inflows between ETH and BTC, my cope as an ETH bag holder, my cope is that staking isn't allowed in the ETH ETF yet. And I like to think once hedgies see that you can get 4% APR on a Bitcoin correlated asset, they might get excited. Maybe not, but we'll see. That's my ETH cope. I think ETH is going to do well. I just think it is not beautifully presented quite yet.
Yeah, I think to your point, I think we talked about this maybe last week pre-election, that if Kamala had won, it'd be good more long-term for markets, and that we'd expect some more aggressive regulation maybe out the gate, but still kind of from her messaging favorable to crypto legislation. But with Trump in charge now, we've seen people affiliated with this camp saying that they're going to buy 500 million Bitcoins, a million Bitcoins over 5 years as a strategic reserve. And also there's obviously his World Liberty Fi token, which is a DeFi thing. So it seems much more favorable to not just the market as a whole, but specifically DeFi, right? This idea that we're going to continue to have a Wild West period has got a lot of people pretty excited, I think. And maybe even some protections or guarantees for people that invest in decentralized products. You're not going to be immediately illegal for staking or whatever. And if that were to happen, ETH becomes a lot more appealing. Isn't that right?
I guess it's just a more complicated asset. But ETH is dope. Have you heard the ETH 3.0 rumors at all?
I just saw that literally right before the show, but I didn't look into it, so I didn't put it on. You want to tell me about it? Apparently,
people think that, in the same way that sharding kind of pivoted to L2s as the scaling solution, people think that ETH is going to announce a 3.0 implementation that's going to vastly reduce block times and increase throughput using ZK proofs. And this would be insane. This would be enormous. This would really crank up the throughput, reduce the costs of transacting on ETH. But right now it's purely speculative. But if you've been following Vitalik and following the ETH Foundation, they've been investing a lot into, I think Succinct's ZK implementation that has been extremely popular. And I forget what they call it exactly, like a Triton proof or whatever. But they've been claiming that this is going to be maybe the future of Ethereum. So we'll see. And it would certainly position Ethereum quite favorably among the sea of alternative networks.
Now, what would that mean for L2s? Are they dead then?
No, it means L2s are great and their viability improves. But I think what we'll also see is an Ethereum that can push a lot more bandwidth, generate more fees, and take advantage of the liquidity. Because right now it has 10 times the liquidity of every other network, but it's used as kind of like a place to store your reserves for the most part, simply because transacting is super expensive. So reducing the cost of transacting means more fees are going to flow, more transaction volume, and ETH protocols are going to start making more money. And I would say, like, if something like this happens, like a company like ours who's optimized for L2s, we would probably rush to implement our tech on ETH, and I'm sure there are many teams that feel the same.
Wonderful. I mean, Lunaman has just provided, I think something.
I think this is where the rumor is coming from, like this Ethereum Foundation, like core guy. I think
his most ambitious initiative to date.
Yeah, he's got the coveted Justin.eth ENS. This is a real insider here as an Ethereum researcher.
Ultrasound money.
That's right, dude. Although I've heard some Ethereum people say it is not money, it will never be money, and that was never the plan. But it's also ultrasound.
Yeah.
I read like a tweet, I don't remember from who, but they were making the point that ETH has suffered because, like, since it's since it started, it had been acquiring this like commodity premium.
Mm-hmm.
And then people started pushing the whole narrative of staking and yield. And then it started to get valued more based on the like revenues per se, like kind of like discounted cash flows. And that has been hurting Ethereum. It's been losing this commodity premium. And I think I would say that makes kind of sense. And I would like to pivot away from this whole, even though it's like interesting, and I see this future of like boomers, like once they allow ETH staking, they're going to be like, okay, fuck real estate. Let's buy this tokenized internet bond that makes 4% per year. Awesome. Let's go max leverage and so on. But I think that's been hurting Ethereum for a while, this whole like change of narrative.
Totally. Yeah, it's like it's good in the bear market, I would say. Like, it's like, oh, I'm getting this asset at a discount. It's like the risk reward is lower for ETH, I would say. With Bitcoin, it's like infinite. Like, okay, if this becomes the world reserve asset, what the fuck happens? But with ETH, it's like, oh, this is a tech company. And yeah, it would be nice if ETH could go to $100,000 as well, please, guys.
Yeah,
I wanted to. I have no Bitcoin. I'm
my
ETH maxi.
As well. We're all crypto zoomers on this call, so we're all heavy into ETH as opposed to Bitcoin. I wanted to throw up this chart here real quick. There's the Bitcoin dominance chart, because last time I looked at it, I think on like Thursday or something, it did look like dominance was coming down. So we were seeing that kind of flow of money out of Bitcoin into alts. But over the weekend, sharp reversal, dude. Bitcoin is not stopping.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Maybe it is time. Maybe I should just buy one Bitcoin and that's it.
It's only a matter of time. It's only a matter of time until that chart gets Hitlered. I honestly, like, I think
when Saylor announces he's selling all of his Bitcoin for Ethereum in one stack.
Actually, there is a second best.
Yeah. His brother Michael Saylor comes in with his. No, but like, I think we all have PTSD a little bit from the last couple of years. Bitcoin doing, just chugging along and everything dying. But I think big funding rounds are going to come back now that Trump is elected and now that everything's ripping. And I think a lot of these altcoins and a lot of these like sort of small tech companies in crypto are going to get a lot of attention. I think gaming is going to be really big. I'm still a pretty firm believer, at least in the rotation theory, in that there will be a period and then also start to rip. Although that's what I've bet my financial future on. So please.
I appreciate the transparency. So Charles is full in on his beliefs. I love to see it.
That's awesome.
It's just cope because I don't have any Bitcoin either, but
that thesis makes a lot of sense to me. But I think the general consensus right now in the markets is they're all kind of ripping right now. everything is kind of going up. Stocks are doing great. I mean, part of this is the SEC also, well, not the SEC, I'm sorry, the Fed dropping rates a little bit. There was a little kerfuffle there when Trump said he was going to replace Powell, and Powell said, no, you're not.
No.
But we'll see how that shakes out. Things are generally fairly positive, but not all of them. I want to throw this out there before we kind of move along, because I thought this was kind of interesting. Everyone loves Warren Buffett. Look at him. He's such a wholesome old man from Omaha. It's a true American story. You can't love.
Is that AI generated? It looks weird.
Yeah, that is weird.
Maybe he's like
it looks like his
years old. So
yeah, it looks like his face was chopped on, or just they touched it up a lot after.
Yeah.
But he said he's moved a large amount of his position into cash. He sold a bunch of his stock in Apple and various other things, and it moved to a $166 billion cash position. So some people are saying this is a warning sign. I say this guy doesn't even know anything about freaking crypto, dude. So
the future is now.
That 166 billion, he's just prepping stakeholders for full stack into Bitcoin. So
okay,
inevitable.
All right, yeah, he's just moving to a cash position so he can start buying into Bitcoin. All right,
market to buy one candle.
It's the sell high, buy higher season, and Warren Buffett is about to fall victim to that. You could tell him I said that.
All right, yeah, I'll pass that along to him. Nice.
We're going to be eating these words, by the way. But
I know.
Yeah, I hope not.
Let's keep the vibes good.
Next up here, more Bitcoin news here. I have here, sorry, I didn't have the tab open. Let me share it now. Bitcoin could be, let's do this one. Bitcoin could be one upgrade away from overtaking Ethereum DeFi. A long dormant string of code called OpCat could be the secret to unlocking the true potential of Bitcoin for DeFi and see it surge past Ethereum DeFi in the future. Now, this isn't the first time we've heard something kind of like this with inscriptions. Bebis is famously, I don't know how famous you are, Bebis, but your publicly stated opinion is never going to happen. The value of Bitcoin is that it's a rock. But what's the deal with this, guys? You guys are pretty knowledgeable. Is this change the game at all?
Maybe I'll give like a brief history. OpCat was shipped with the original implementation of Bitcoin. It essentially lets you create more complex transactions, and it was subsequently removed by Satoshi or by whoever, who knows, but it was shipped with the original implementation. And now that Bitcoin is much more decentralized, much more stable, people are revisiting OpCat, which is essentially just a way to send your transaction and also append something that says, you can do this, this, and this, but not this, this, and this with the transaction. So it's like how ERC20 uses approval.
I'm not going to say that it was all.
My bad. And, I didn't even have to go up already.
So you can theoretically construct way more complicated transactions, and it governs how people can interact with scripts. So in doing so, you can create like DeFi for the most part. And, there's a lot of pushback. Like a lot of people really hate OpCat. People have been lobbying for it for a long, long time. The Taproot wizards are kind of the main driving force behind the movement. These covenants, they're called, which is kind of the concatenated to the main transaction body. It's like a big deal. And I think the thesis is not necessarily that Bitcoin DeFi is going to be that great or anywhere near as good as Ethereum DeFi. I think the main thesis is like the DeFi will be able to exist. And because the Bitcoin addressable market is so much bigger than the ETH addressable market, that's enough for it to be better and more liquid. And I would kind of contest that because, again, that's not the value proposition of Bitcoin. And a lot of people that bought Bitcoin didn't buy it with that intention at all. And most wouldn't really trust these systems. So, what we're seeing today with people using Schnorr signatures to create validiums, to have ZK-L2s on Bitcoin, I would honestly argue that that's enough. Let EVM do the finance, use Bitcoin security. We've got years of development to facilitate that. and leave the Bitcoin protocol alone. I don't think we, maybe need to ever see another hard fork. Although the proposal is proposing like a soft fork. So overall, I would say, it's interesting, and the design space is really interesting, and it'll open up a lot of creativity. But I think the reality is, like, these guys just want to build on ETH and are too deep in Bitcoin to do that. So they're trying to implement like pseudo programmability using Taproot.
Maybe Bitcoin guys.
I mean, thank you for the explanation, because I had no idea what this was. I mean, for me, it just seems like Bitcoin cope a bit. It's like, I mean, I'm ignorant about this, but I guess, like, they don't have a VM, so it's like, for like reading this, I just think about like the cars from the Flintstones.
Yeah.
I'm driving a car, and they're just like walking, just like
exactly
chassis of the car. So
the thing is, it's like the people proposing this are not like, sometimes people love to talk about stuff that they're totally clueless about. They don't really understand necessarily the drivers of DeFi, and they're just like read like an article, like a 500-word article about it. We're like, let's get this on Bitcoin. But I mean, it is what it is. I think like people are marketing it as a solve for security expenses. But I think the solve there is really with energy costs going down, and computers getting better. I don't think we necessarily need to try super hard to solve Bitcoin's security budget problem, because I think it will solve for itself, because people are like looking, 100 years out, they're like, oh, Bitcoin's going to fail with today's technology. It's not going to be able to survive in 100 years. And it's like, dude, just fucking.
Well, if Microsoft can purchase, nuclear reactors to power their cloud computing, I think some Bitcoin whales in the future, if these price targets are accurate, we'll probably be able to do the same, right?
Yeah. It's like, it's a non-problem that people on the Ethereum end love to FUD about, and people in the OpCat world like to say, oh, we need to generate more fees. And it's like, Bitcoin does not need to be any more expensive, you just like relax and let the L2s propagate, because the tech exists today to have like a really proper Bitcoin secured L2 with Schnorr signatures. So just support those. You don't need to, like, in this, how much market cap does Bitcoin have? 2 trillion. You don't need to just make a new technical implementation of this thing. It obviously works as intended and is doing a good job.
Yeah.
You guys aren't seeing the bigger picture. Okay. And that is Michael Saylor using his Bitcoin to mint 1 trillion cdxUSD. And that is the future of finance.
Wow.
So stop funning, stop being haters, and let's build on Bitcoin.
You're right, actually.
Yeah, I was going to say something.
Full reversal on this one.
Yeah, that convinced me. No, I think it is interesting, because there's this consistent trend with a lot of like the Bitcoin innovations. It almost feels to me like a hat on a hat. Like, the beauty of Bitcoin is this kind of like elegant simplicity, right? Yeah. It doesn't need to do a lot of things. It's just got to do one thing, and it does it really well. That seems to be what's been driving its success. So trying to do additional things with it is kind of like what, we're going to make a better knife,
Yeah. A knife too. How many people have tried to make a better knife? Many people, and it's all stupid. It's like, dude, sometimes I look at like an onion or a piece of lettuce, and I'm like, dude, or soup. Imagine being the guy that invented soup. It's like
boiling water,
the ultimate product. It's like tech founders nowadays can never understand what it's like to invent soup. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Born too late to invent soup, and born just in time to implement
shitcoins.
yeah. Implement
right,
DeFi on Bitcoin.
I got one last little clip here I want to play, because I thought it was funny about Bitcoin, and then we can move on to Codex chapter updates. Charles, time to shine. You got your notes ready, Charles?
Nope.
You'll have a minute to get them ready. All right, here we go. I think this is funny. This is a guy named Peter Zeihan. He was not this one.
I'm going to say that it was.
This is Peter Zeihan. I don't know if you guys know him. He's like a analyst. like a global geopolitical analyst. He does a commentary on all kinds of things. But this was from when Bitcoin was around 13K a few years ago. This is what or a year ago. And this is what he had to say.
I'm not going to say that it was all fraud. Some of it was a pyramid scheme. There's never been anything there. It serves no purpose. It's not a store of value. It's not a medium of exchange. And as we have seen, if you want it decentralized and not under government control, it is a haven for fraudsters. And now it is in the process of going to zero, except for Bitcoin, which will probably go negative. There's no intrinsic value to this asset. And now it's starting to be priced appropriately. So it has what's Bitcoin at? 16,000? It has another 17,000 to go down.
Duh. Really?
Yeah, there's no intrinsic value to this product.
Yeah, so he's eating a little crow right now, but I mean, I don't know. Now it's got 86,000 to go down.
That makes me so happy.
Yeah, that's
I just I can't not.
that's
smile
the most
about
mid
that.
curve. Once you accept that the fact that Bitcoin has no fundamental value is the reason it's so valuable, you become better at finance instantly. And that guy's just stuck in the mid curve, like balancing, thinking he's the smartest guy ever.
Yeah, he's in the matrix. Like, oh, I need my 60-40 portfolio to protect me against the certain future. Fuck
Yeah. And meanwhile, Penis Jeff 123 in our Discord is up 400 trillion% this year on his 14-cent PopCat buy. So good for him.
I wonder if PopCat is pumping because of OpCat. That's what I would expect from this market, and I love
That's
it.
the dark arithmetic
it
of
is.
crypto.
Yeah.
We're
not
those are the kind of theses you need to be making if you're going to operate.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's shift tracks here just for a moment. Let's get a little chapter update here. Charles, this one's all on you, bad boy. So show us what's going on.
All right. What's up, guys? Can you please? I hate being the only one on the screen. All right. Hello, Codexians, Codex community members. Okay, chapter update number 1. Lore Finance. The Lore discount, the options Lore discount, has just reached its max. So the discount is now 50%, and you will have 2 weeks to redeem your Lore into liquid Lore, and that is it. And after the 2 weeks, the contract is getting reset, and we will start fresh with new Lore. So if you have a big bag of Lore that you've been farming, redeem your Lore, do it in the next 2 weeks. I guess the other thing I want to mention about Lore is that Nuri Exchange has some really, really good yields on Lore USD and Lore. And Beefy, which is also on Scroll, the yield aggregator Beefy, has a Lore USD vault up that has been doing really well. And I'm in there, and I welcome you all to dilute me, because that's pure stable yields compounded. And I know no one cares about stable yield right now, but if you do, then check that out. Ironclad is going really, really strong. It's popping off. We just hit, I think, a peak of like 700K in liquidity on Aerodrome. That pool is really going strong, especially with Aerodrome pumping. Mode Season 3 Epoch 2, the voting ends tomorrow. We just announced a bunch of rewards for people who vote Ironclad if you're a VE mode holder. So do that, get some rewards. And we will be distributing a ton of OP rewards as part of Season 3 to ICL stakers, to money market users on Ironclad, and to iUSD liquidity providers. So Ironclad is just popping off. And look forward to a bunch of incentives in the coming months. Aurelius also doing very well. I don't know if you saw Mantle pumped like 20% the other week. So really dope. Aurelius is always good. I don't really have anything new to say about Aurelius, but yeah, just join the Codex Discord and keep up to date with everything.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for that, Charles. Let's all give him a round of applause. Well done.
Good job.
Thank you so much.
And I have to say, I love stable yield.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, right. You know
Stable
what?
yield right
You
to
know.
the veins.
Well,
We need to get Yuvi in here to show us stable yield. He's a big He's so sidelined right now. It's awesome.
I'm the only reason I'm not sidelined is because I forgot the password to my Robinhood account and I bought ETH there in 2020. I full ported ETH in 2020. So once I recover my account, the chart's going down 1,000%.
All right, keep us posted on if you get that password back, so we know how to front run you. Fantastic. Okay, well, things are sounding like they're going pretty well in the Codex ecosystem now. Well, I don't know if we're really supposed to talk about price, but things are looking up. So check them out. Check out the ecosystem tokens like Ironclad, Aurelius.
Us and Nuri are going to save Scroll.
Yeah, it looks like it's happening, dude. Resuscitation.
We need to team up. Scroll is going to be the first L2 CTO. Us and Nuri, we're going to combine forces, and it's going to be glorious.
I cannot wait, dude. I cannot wait to see what you guys do with the network. Now,
also, maybe we should take technically not a chapter, but talk about make fun for 2 minutes. cdxUSD liquidity on Aerodrome is massive. There's tons of volume pumping through those pools. And I don't know, is make fun a topic of conversation here?
Yeah, dude, make fun.
Let's go.
Let's make fun. Let's make some fun now.
Yeah, if you guys don't know, we're building a launchpad on Base that uses cdxUSD and liquidity AMO tech to launch memes in a way more user-friendly and retail-friendly way. And what did I want to follow that up with? I guess audits are being done soon. The platform's going to launch soon. This is an effort to address the Sun exploit that happened earlier this year. But in the long term, I think a really, really high functioning and cool launchpad on Base is extremely bullish. And all that volatility is gonna get sucked up by cdxUSD. So
yeah, and
look at week number 1 is already like exceeding expectations. Unfortunately, it's broken Aerodrome's volume thing, but it's getting like $50,000+ of volume a day, which seems like not that much, but that's really high value volume. And revenues, I would say, the second we launched MF, have like doubled. And really the goal is again. And with the permissionless launchpad, that'll be really easy. And if you look at the pool balance for the USDC, cdxUSD, to give you an idea, like to scale liquidity for Ethos Reserve and ERN, it cost us hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars to get to a few million dollars of liquidity. And that $2 million of two-sided liquidity, 900K on both sides there, the cost is zero for us. And the time horizon is, however long we are alive. So it's a really, really exciting way to grow. And it takes advantage of our talents as an engineering firm, because cdxUSD can power 1 billion different products. It's really just about, where, what, why, when, how.
Yeah. I'm eager to dive more into how cdxUSD works, what you mean here by it costing $0 and all of this stuff in just a moment, because I think there's a lot to unpack there, right? And we got to make it clippable. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But before we do that, let's just wrap up. We'll wrap up. This is wrapping up the chapter update section. Let's move on to a headline section. Let's go back. Let's bounce around a little bit. But keep cdxUSD in your mind here. First up, I have here Trump's crypto promises. This is from CNBC. We talked a little bit about this in the previous section, but getting a little bit more into it. He promised to launch a strategic national crypto stockpile if elected. And everything is going up, dude.
Yeah.
Are you guys bullish on this on America buying crypto?
Dude, if this is the first bone that Zoomers and millennials have been thrown in, like, since we were born. This is like the first time the U.S. government has bought our bags. So I, for one, welcome the purchasing of our bags and others. And I want to highlight, like, the crypto lobby has been the most spendingest lobby in the world for coming into the U.S. election, and probably the best investment ever made, period. So like everybody that kind of jumped in the crypto movement and forced this Overton window toward crypto, it's just like nutty. And we're going to keep vamping Wall Street maybe until the rest, until our deathbeds,
till the end of time.
Yeah,
I want to highlight here, because I think this is a key thing here. You see these headlines pop up a lot, and it's hard to say whether or not they actually move the market at all, but it tends to upset people. But you see these all the time when a nation state is selling crypto that they've seized either through criminal act or criminal prosecution or whatever, however the hell they get them. Trump has stated that if I'm elected, it will be the policy of my administration to keep 100% of all Bitcoin the U.S. government wholly holds or acquires in the future, implying that no more of these watching the government wallets to see when they're going to full stack Hitler the token. I think it's kind of bullish.
I want to see this spark some sort of like Bitcoin race, and like all governments are going to start like allocating a portion of their fake, imaginary, hyperinflated money towards buying Bitcoin.
Dude, Bitcoin could literally create peace. The whole world united to pump our big, huge bag to infinity.
See, I was thinking the opposite. I was imagining, one of Trump's policies being we invade El Salvador to claim their private keys so that we can seize their Bitcoin reserve. Could be the move.
That's more of a Democrat.
Oh, okay.
You know what I was super shocked about? Bhutan, this like country, I think it's next to Nepal.
Oh yeah.
They have like $1 billion in Bitcoin that they've been mining with hydroelectric power plants.
That's fascinating. I did not know that about Bhutan. Bhutan is,
can't wait for
Bhutan
to take over the world.
Bhutan is almost like a North Korean type state. Like it's super insular,
Dude, imagine North Korea's Bitcoin reserves.
Well,
actually, ETH reserves.
From my understanding, they'd have more ETH reserves, wouldn't they?
Yeah, dude, imagine all the social engineering like for the past decade and all the Bitcoin that North Korea has just yoinked. I'm sure it's a number that we can't conceive of. Dude, America's pumping North Korea's bags right now. That's fucked up. Now that I think about it.
Yeah, well, someone's got to do it, dude. Maybe this will be the first step to unification. Perhaps. South Korea does the mining, North Korea does the stealing. I don't know. Wow. Other thing I got here for us, last thing on this little segment of headlines, because everyone's favorite Cardano has been pumping quite a bit lately, and I didn't know why. And apparently it's because Charles Hoskinson claims it is likely he becomes a crypto advisor to Trump, claims to be friends with Trump's administration. I know there's a BitBoy tweet, but I grabbed it because this is one of the few times I've ever seen BitBoy say something that makes a lot of sense to me.
He's off the drugs now.
Yeah, he's off the trees. He's seeing clear-headed, dude. He might be the best analyst we've ever seen.
See, he only does drugs because otherwise it's like he'd have to live with a 200 IQ in his life. He would be bogged down.
Like purposefully handicaps himself.
Yeah.
To like make reality bearable.
Exactly. I see. The visions are too much for him, so he needs to do the drugs to bring down to our level. But no, I mean, there is support for his claim. Hoskinson did come out and say he's going to be working with lawmakers in Washington, D.C. And I want to know, this is bullish or bearish for you guys? I talked about in the intro how long will this golden bull run last, right? How long are things going to be up only? Is it going to turn around when Hoskinson's in there?
Yeah, I mean, it's like, what could possibly help?
I mean, Cardano is like a Bitcoin L2 now.
It is, isn't it?
So incentives aligned. Now, I don't know. I don't like the guy. I mean, I'm pretty sure he's super smart and everything, but like as a character, I think he's just like scammer.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. How would you place him against Richard Hart?
He's like Richard Hart, but like his marketing skew is like big brain. So he's going after the smartest people that he can and nerd sniping them with like the Haskell inventor working from IOHK, tons and tons of research. But it's like my favorite is calling back to like the Olympus DAO research paper that was commissioned from Gauntlet. That's like 8 to 12 pages of the most complex math you'll ever read, and it's just total like BS. It's like nothing. It's so technically profound that it's useless and pointless. And I don't want to say that's Cardano. Like Cardano there are a lot of really practical elements, but where Richard Hart is like, I'm going to go after the lowest common denominator and advertise, year over year ROI with the most extreme annualization I can. Whereas Hoskinson is like, I'm going to pretend that this is like the second coming of Jesus, but for like IT guys in their 40s who have like huge savings just because they were, buying Bitcoin early or whatever. That's my impression. And, take that for what it's worth. I think Hoskinson is certainly more legit.
Interesting.
Yeah, I would say so too. I think same MO as this other guy from Bitcoin SV. What's his name? Craig Wright?
Yeah, Craig Wright, yeah.
But I think he's dumber still. It's like, some other lunatic.
Yeah, he just, I think, has a chip on his shoulder because he wants credit for something Ethereum. And he's like, I'll do it better. But, the thing is, like, Dean likes him, so I like him. I guess.
Now, personally, I would prefer if Barron Trump remained the head of the blockchain bureau that Trump is going to establish as executive. But that's just my own personal preference. I wanted to point out, too, I pulled up a little bit of Hoskins, the very lightest possible research you could do. I pulled up his Wikipedia page here, and I just thought this was interesting, because you don't see this very often outside of like 15th century philosophers born in 1987 or 1988. How do we not know, dude? That's a public record. This is a very mysterious character here. He claimed he entered a PhD program, but he dropped out. But the school he claimed he went into did not have a program in mathematics.
Wow.
And the only confirmation was he has part of an undergraduate degree in math. So
yeah. I mean, it seems like a man who feels a lot of shame to lie about stuff like that. So hopefully, working with the Trump administration will help him feel better.
Okay. Yeah, maybe that's just what he needs. He needs a little ego boost. Yeah. I found it quite fascinating. So I think, politically, I think that we can kind of wrap up the politics stuff of this. Let's talk about a little bit more of like our wheelhouse, guys. Our expertise here. We deal daily with the realities of market liquidity, right? It's something we have to become very familiar with. If you're new into crypto, if this is your first bull run, if this is your first entry into it, something you got to really understand, right? Because the manipulation of liquidity levels, not understanding how they work, how liquidity works, you can either get scammed or you can lose all your money because you did something stupid. But let's define it here. When we talk about liquidity in the markets, what exactly are we talking about, Charles?
We're talking about how much money is there to facilitate the exchange of assets.
Beautiful.
So,
yeah.
Do you want me to
super
go on?
important, right? Because
super important.
Because if the market only has $100,000 in liquidity, I'm looking at my Rabby wallet. I see I own a token. It's worth $100 million. Only $100,000 in liquidity, though. How much am I actually worth, guys?
Well, it depends on how strategic you are. I think like liquidity, obviously, it's like, okay, how much money is available to settle transactions for a particular asset? Mm-hmm. But I think further to that, you can also think, okay, what are the spreads for said asset? How diverse are the providers of liquidity or the buyers and the sellers of that asset across the whole book? And then even more so, and this is where I think things get really important for meme coins and for these highly liquid assets. What is their mind share? What would be the theoretical demand were the asset to be aggressively repriced? And I think like liquidity in crypto means a lot of things that is maybe different from TradFi, because liquidity can be very like, now I'm providing liquidity, now I'm not. And if you're a member of a community or you're associated with a community or you trade a particular asset, really the thing that, am I a liquidity provider or am I not, might depend on the price of the token, or some other scenario that is unique to crypto, if that makes sense.
So you're kind of talking about like the reflexivity of it. Like if I sell a lot, how likely is it that the price point will be defended by people introducing more liquidity? Like how many?
Kind of, yeah. It's
how
like
many buys are there to fill my sells?
Yeah, it's like when you push down in like a vacuum and start compressing the air on the bottom, it becomes likelier and likelier that it will escape and hydrate the whatever vacuum you're in. And that's kind of, there would be no air in a vacuum, so that's a really bad analogy. But it is like the nature of crypto, because typically in TradFi, and this is like an understanding of practically a layman. But a lot of times, like when algos stop or when people run out of liquidity, the markets stop. And they're like, okay, we need to readjust, move some things around. And in crypto, it's like turbo degenerate 24/7, no holds barred. So the way liquidity is introduced and removed from systems is like, I don't know if reflexive is the right word, but it can certainly be unpredictable.
It's volatile.
Yeah, it's like looking at liquidity can be just as volatile as the asset itself.
Yeah.
And it's like both of these factors moving up and down is what makes underwriting crypto assets so hard.
And to dumb it down a bit, and I think to arrive at the point that you were making, well, maybe, but that you were making at the beginning, Corval, is like memes. People see like the ratio of what the meme is worth in its market cap and how much liquidity it has is maybe the most important thing about the meme, because if you have a meme that's worth $500 million and there's 500,000 to trade through, only at the top 1% is actually worth $500 million, or even less than that. Everybody else holding that bag, the person who gets out first, with like not that much size, is the only person that's going to sort of realize that valuation. And maybe I'm hoping this is kind of the point that you're trying to get to, is cdxUSD as a meme coin facilitator
Elegant.
solves this issue of
sure.
people launching meme coins, and they're launching with 6 figures of liquidity and a massive valuation. That is going to wreck a lot of people, because they look at the market cap, they go, okay, this is worth $100 million. This is already a big meme coin. It's not going to be as volatile as the $5 million meme coin, when in reality, that's not what dictates how volatile it is. It's how much liquidity is in the market, which is usually through an AMM, if it's not on a centralized exchange yet. So cdxUSD and Make Fun allow people to launch meme coins at whatever liquidity level they want. So you can launch a $5 million meme coin with $10 million of liquidity, and have liquidity not be an issue and not be a bottleneck. You can kind of set the volatility as you like. If you want a really volatile meme coin, don't do that much liquidity. It's kind of it just allows for this kind of flexibility without the creator of the meme coin putting up capital themselves, or the people that it doesn't rely on liquidity providers to be able to sort of service this like liquidity need. So
you can tell we're passionate about market liquidity here.
Yeah.
I have a question actually. Do you think that with cdxUSD you can, let me see, how do I phrase this? The whole like business of meme coins, will it increase the amount of memes that actually succeed? Like, do you decrease the probability of the memes? Because like most memes, they don't ever reach some critical mass of liquidity. So then they don't even have the opportunity to actually like blow up and like become trendy or become viral, whatever.
Yeah.
And with cdxUSD, can this percentage of meme coins that actually do make it increase?
So I think that's like,
I know it's weirdly
full
phrased.
question
Like
to
I phrased
answer.
it
No,
really
no, no, no.
badly with
That's
my
perfect.
last neuron. So.
That's perfect. Your last neuron is doing great. I think like we see a lot of launch pads entering the market, and the funny thing is, it's just like, you know, Web 2 companies or random people, you know, see how much money Pump Fund is making and just decide to dive head first without thinking that much about why these launch pads can be successful. Because there have been launch pads for like 4 or 5 years. And really what Pump Fund did is it created a business model that made sense. But the driver of that business model is not the technology to launch tokens permissionlessly, because that's existed forever. The driver is, on one side, the distribution, and on the other side, kind of the curation and the creation, being, okay, if I'm a dev or I'm a community leader or a project leader and I want to create a new revenue stream, for example, by launching a token, okay, I want to do it at the place that will give me the largest audience possible. And you know, if we look at Pump Fund, a lot of their flow is literally like HFT firms just creating and rugging tokens as quickly as possible. And there's like this whole class of token that's literally like, I'm going to create a token and I'm going to be the first buyer. So I'm going to bundle the transaction, which means I'm going to create and buy in the same transaction so I can't get front run. And then I'm going to trap some people and then sell down to zero. And you know, do it with as little risk as possible. And so, you know, I think we will mitigate that. And that's also not necessarily a good thing, because those HFT firms are paying fees. The people trading into those are paying fees. And on the other end, everybody's paying fees to Pump.Fund. So I think percentage-wise, sure, assets launched with greater liquidity will be more successful. I think what's important to me about Make.Fund is, if you're a serious creator, then your token launched on Make.Fund is going to be more successful than it would be were you to launch on other venues. And so for us, it's less so, you know, how can we max out the flow, and more so, how can we address the needs of the highest quality flow? Because if you look at like Cardi B, you know, or you look at any of these, you know, Iggy Azalea, whoever are launching these tokens with, you know, frankly, really crappy distributions, really crappy liquidity levels. You know, at the volumes these tokens are pushing out the gate, they can clear probably the fee that whatever Sahil guy or person that paid them off in the background paid them anyway for the promotion. So I think really, to us, it's about aligning incentives for the support of the audience that we think is more base attuned, which is less financial nihilism craziness and more like, you know, longer time horizons. I have a job. I want to maybe build with, of course, a baseline of a little bit of craziness. But we just don't see the volumes on base that we see on Sol. But we see a lot more DeFi. We see a lot larger balance sheets. And we're trying to build for that market in particular. So I know that was kind of a non-question, but or a non-answer to your question, but I don't think this is a solution. Being like, I don't think this is going to make more successful tokens. I just think it's going to, for our target audience, make the most successful tokens, if that makes sense.
Yeah, totally. Okay. Yeah, I'm still wrapping my head around it, but I like it. And I think base makes a ton of sense. I mean,
yeah,
with the
it's
next
like
wave
they
of
want to,
retail,
it's like, yeah, it's like corporate guys
Coinbase,
trying to figure it out.
they will be pushing base to the whole retail base.
Yeah, The retail base.
Coinbase pushing base to their retail base.
Exactly. And that's the thesis, is that it's just a good place to be. And the thing is, like, the base team is really aggressive. Like, they want to win. And the funny thing is, they are basically neutral. Like, they're not really knighting anybody. They're not giving away free money. They're investing in Aerodrome after Aerodrome kind of proved itself to be, the most secure, reflexive, nicest venue to push. But the reality is, it's one of the most fair places we've ever built. It's like a pure meritocracy. So we're going to go there and we're going to crush it, and hopefully just build out probably the most interesting ecosystem there. Because the way Codex Land plugs into the meme coin universe, I'm not even going to get into that, but everything that we build kind of works together toward a specific end, being improving liquidity and improving outcomes for users.
Yeah, so I think hopefully we've done a good job, I think, of impressing on the audience the importance of liquidity conditions when you're conducting trades and when you're launching tokens, right? Maybe to Lunaman's point, though, whether or not, like, the initial liquidity conditions kind of setting you up for success or failure, right? Like, what was kind of his point, right? Like, you'll get more successful tokens if, how many projects have had launched a token and they get sniped, they get front run, liquidity is really thin. So a guy with, 100 grand can really move the chart. Engage in some classic market manipulation, look up the stuff they were doing in the early 1900s, give you guys some free game for you. And you can really wreak havoc on a financial endeavor, right? Or a financial project. I wanted to throw up this because this is an interesting little example here from the day. If you're familiar with the Giga meme token, Giga Chad, right? We see this really long wick here. Right, it's a super long wick. This thing goes down to like
it merges with the volume. Bar. I love it.
Yeah, so this is what, just one huge clip, right?
Only $2 million.
But wait, it got rebought. So you had like a bunch of retas like, fuck you.
Yeah.
You had some incredible entries here, right?
That's literally what I had in mind when I was saying, like, liquidity in the meme coin game is mind share, because people will become liquidity or enter kind of the liquidity provision space as the token gets cheaper because their downside risk is lower. And so AMMs making market making effectively like totally permissionless and super accessible. It's like, oh shit, I can become liquidity here. I can enter the market here and just re-add at the top or sell down at the top or sell through the volume. And a lot of sophisticated actors really thrive on big nukes like that. And it's just like maximum volume, limited downside. And, I think if you have a big fat bag of Giga token and it's worth 10, 20, $30 million, even though you'll never realize it, your upside for buying that dip is way, way, way big. But I think this is like kind of showing like what will inevitably happen with a lot of these meme coins, not all of them. Shiba was able to survive and stay huge. Doge, Dog with Hat, and there are a lot that kind of revive and grow with time. But yeah, it's there will be a time when people are just tired of waiting, and keeping the energy high forever is impossible. Look at any brand in history. That's all these are, is brands. Supreme is not as swaggy or as cool or as talked about as it once was. And really, that's the important thing about the meme coin market. It's like you need to find exit liquidity before it's too late.
So I think that's an interesting example here of, keeping your eye on these things. I guess like from this one too, the big loser here would be if you were the guy that just dumped that all in one clip, right? Like, because the liquidity conditions are so, your position is larger than the available liquidity. What you got chopped up in slippage, right? Like crazy.
You kind of need to. It's like the whole concept of the full stack Hitler is like the most polite thing you can do when exiting a meme coin position.
Okay, I'm making
is
a
to
note of
do
that.
the full stack Hitler, which essentially means you sell your entire bag in one clip, because then there's not this overhang. If you sell half or you sell a quarter, then people are going to be staring at your wallet forever, afraid about your next sell. So the politest thing to do is get terrible execution, nuke the chart, give the ticker a bunch of attention, and let everybody buy the dip, and give people really nice entries and give people some upside. So that guy was actually being nice.
All right.
And it may actually, like, if you think about it, play to his favor, because if he only like sells part, or like he's like swapping out, then people can like price in that he's gonna keep selling.
Yeah.
And then he's just gonna end up selling at a way worse price, even if his overall slippage or price impact is
It's
lower.
like how market makers handle big airdrops, or how market makers handled the German government selling Bitcoin, is they just widen their spreads, which means like they let the token kind of drop, they let price discovery happen in the downward direction, and then they just kind of, you know, see where the market catches the knife, establish positions there, and just get it cheap. And they know if they make the German government execute at 50K, because this is an institutional buyer that legally has to sell, because they're a government, they're like, we declared we're going to sell. Market makers swoop in, they widen spreads, they frankly, I don't know a polite way to say this, they butt fuck the German government's dumping, and then they reprice it 2 weeks later. And this happens in meme coins, this happens in every asset class. It's just like, if market makers know that their bids are just going to get wrecked, they'll help the market reprice faster, so that they can give whoever has telegraphed a large sale worse execution. So don't sell assets that aren't really sharply regulated, because they're just going to get wrecked. Good
advice, I think. I think I learned something. I don't know about you guys, but I learned something. Yeah. I'm going to be full stack Hitlering a bunch of tokens in about 30 minutes. So keep your eyes on your favorite charts.
Shout out the grass airdrop. The market makers did so good there, and the investors. That was so well coordinated. It was like last week we were talking shit. They had so little liquidity. And then it turned out, they were just giving airdrop dumpers awful execution, and then immediately recovered like 500%.
I think you kind of even mentioned that was like a possibility, and I didn't believe it, but now I do, because I saw it happen.
It's like the most sophisticated market makers will, like, airdrop coming, let's widen the spreads way out, let's give people awful execution, let's just whip them a little, and reprice this bad boy. And repricing obviously takes a big community, and it takes a lot of belief and a lot of effort from investors willing to follow on. But you can tell people believe in that shit, and like with the scroll airdrop, for example, you can tell they widen the spreads, let price discovery happen downward, but we haven't seen the bid. And that happens with a lot of these airdrops. It's like, unfortunately, if you misprice it at launch, momentum is just going to kill you.
Brutal. Well, guys, I think this has been a great, informative episode of Club Codex. I had a lot of fun having you guys on. We're going to have to start wrapping this up here, though. And you know what that means. When we do that, we spotlight our community members here. We've got a couple community members that have written some great threads about Codex, and I want to give them a little spotlight here. Let's go up first with, it's good. That's the one. Grant Tonto winning first place this week with this wonderful thread about cdxUSD. A product that we are really going to be spending a lot of time and energy trying to explain to people, because it's a little bit complicated, it's a little bit of a different thing, but we think it's extremely promising. So thank you, Grant Tonto. Big shout out here. This is very helpful. And look, I'm on the Codex account. Let me just give this thing a retweet right now. Go check that out.
Beast.
And then we've got Pepper Does Crypto, AI-driven DeFi, talking more about our AI plans here, heading into DeFi season, also retweeting that one, so go check that one out. And then Timmy Turns, again, showing up, plugging the community. We love to see it.
Doing the unboxing. Dude, shout out Timmy Turns. He's mastered Google Translate and AI. He's maybe become a god. So round of applause. We needed unboxing influencers, and now they're here.
Yeah, dude, I'm actually transfixed by this right now. I can't look away, but I'm going to give it a retweet. So you guys go watch it after this stream. Give him your support. He's really helping us out here. And
dude,
finally,
in the midnight color, dude, a man of good taste.
And then finally, everyone's favorite time of the show, the wheel spin. Are you guys ready to spin this wheel? Let's get a little music going here in the background. Can we hear this? Is there a
I love gambling.
big Codex getting some big points. Oh, it better not be.
Oh,
null.
dude. Okay.
Better null than RJK, as I say. Let's go. Next up, we've got. Oh, Proyecto.
Oh, dude, Proyecto. Hell yeah.
That's
Very
awesome.
talented.
Enjoy
Very
those.
talented artist.
Puntos. And finally, our last winner here. Waze.
Oh, dude, and
Waze
Gamer.
played Samson in the first gaming night.
That was maybe my favorite series of winners yet. I'm round of applause.
Yeah, round of applause to our guys. Those
Pepper and Tonto and RJK are sitting on infinite points right now.
I didn't mean to do just me. So now, if you guys watching on YouTube or Twitter want to participate in the points giveaway, all you have to do is either create some content on our behalf on Twitter, on X, tag us in it, let us know, and you could get featured on the show. Or even better, well, not even better. I mean, it's funner. It's a little more fun, maybe. Join the Discord and join our watch party on Monday, and you'll get your name on the wheel, and you'll have the opportunity to win some CDX points.
Grant Tonto and Pepper are becoming Codex whales.
They're dominating.
So you guys, for the sake of decentralization, everybody, let's make some freaking content, okay?
I heard that. Well, thank you all so much for joining. We'll see you next Monday. I hope you had a good time. Any final words? Lunaman, Bebis, Charles?
I think the dream keeps on living. We gotta enjoy this next couple of weeks. I think it's gonna be some good times, and hopefully it's just a taste of what's to come next year from the Codex fam.
I love it.
Silly season is actually here.
Yeah,
and I wake up smiling every day.
Wonderful. All right. Well, thank you guys so much. We'll see you again next week, same time, same places. Thank you so much.
Thanks,
and
guys.
till next time.
Got that CDX token, we the ones chosen. Every stake, every year, while I stay golden. Codex Club, AI mind focus, it's an anthem. CDX got them frozen.